There's a new offering to the pantheon of hi-fi headphones, the Bathys by Focal. But does it stack up to the competition, let alone Focal's own lineup of heavy hitters? Let's find out. Little bit of background, Focal is a French company with their headquarters and production lines in France. They've been in the hi-fi audio game for 40 years, making top-of-the-line speakers, headphones, amplifiers, you name it, and today marks their latest contribution, the Bathys. We got our hands on a pair to test out and give our thoughts on. So in this video, we'll go over the specs, give overall thoughts, compare them to other headphones, and answer the question, are these really the ideal travel companion as Focal hopes they'll be? I'm Josh, and let's hop right in. Let's start with the case. It's sturdy and it's rigid, and it feels quite solid. Inside, you'll find a 1/8 inch jack cord, a USB-C cord for charging or using the internal DAC, and of course, the headphones. The Bathys inherit a lot of style from other types of Focal headphones, built with aluminum featuring a magnesium yoke that's draped in a band made from real leather and refined microfiber. The cups were very comfortable for me personally, even having a massive head, and the ear pads are also replaceable if for whatever reason you need to do so. Now, one thing I really like about these is that they're light. They weigh less than a pound and you begin to forget they're there. The only real downside I see with the design is that they don't fold up, and with such heavy emphasis on being travel headphones, the ability to fold them up for more efficient storage seems almost like a requirement. To that end, however, they're still fairly compact, and the case easily fits in most standard backpacks or bags, but it's a bit restricted if you're really hankering for space. Not a deal breaker, I think, especially when you factor in the sound quality. Now, looks are fine and dandy, but these are headphones, and if you're looking at them, you ain't listening to them. So, how do they sound? Well, pretty gosh dang good. As per usual with Focal products, the sound quality on these is top notch, and the sound profile is very well balanced. They're built with 1 5/8 inch aluminum magnesium drivers made in-house at their facility in France. But using sound quality as a catch-all doesn't really encapsulate the Bathys' strengths. With 3 modes to listen to music through, it depends on what you're listening to and how. Now, you can listen through either the 1/8 inch audio jack, or through Bluetooth, or through the internal DAC using a USB-C. We listen to multiple different sources like Spotify, Apple Music, and Tidal, using multiple different file types like OGG Vorbis, ALAC Dolby Atmos, FLAC, WAVE, and MQA, etc. The sound is warm and all-encompassing, with the lows being extremely well supported and the highs coming through quite clearly. Overheads and brass, things that could sound tinny and thin, sound very fleshed out and full of life. Vocals feel natural, almost as if David Bowie is singing directly to you. This is greatly aided through the use of the noise cancellation, which we will cover later. Now, the Bathys excelled when it came to noisier stuff. I listened to a wide berth of music: punk, classical, reggae, classic rock, alt-rock, pop-punk, Latin dance, R&B, pop from the 60s to 2020s, the singer-songwriter, dream pop, 90s, hip-hop, blues, big band, new wave, shoegaze. I even put on DJ Khaled. The Bathys really shined with music that was more heavily produced. Quieter music definitely was better than normal, but it wasn't as noticeable of a jump, which is to be expected maybe, but it's nice to know my heartbreaking 90s shoegaze will come through like the sun on a cloudy day. Let's discuss our listening channels. The bass line, the jack input, sounded great to start with. It's not as good as the USB-C, but in spite of that, they still provide superb quality. You may miss out on some details you'd get through the DAC, but it never felt like a sharp decline, so this is a great option if you don't have the USB-C or you don't want to spend as much battery life as would with our next channel. The Bluetooth is a step up from the audio jack and is extremely close to the DAC in quality. Now, that's no knock to the DAC, but every bit of praise to the Bluetooth functionality Focal has designed. Using 5.1 multi-point with a range of a little less than about 50 feet, this is easily the best part about the Bathys. Connecting is easy and convenient, featuring assistance from Google Fast Pair, which is a blessing. The headphones work for you rather than vice versa. And the connection is strong too. I could walk the full distance away from my phone before the audio just cut out completely. There's no skipping, there's no weird fades, no nothing. It feels like you can really cut loose with them. Devil may care. But wireless Bluetooth, as impressive as it is, isn't new, not even to Focal. Something that the Bathys has over most anybody else, however, is the DAC. If you don't know, here's a lesson on wireless headphones and DACs. When you play music from your phone through your headphones, the digital signal travels through the device's DAC, your phone's DAC, and is converted to analog audio waves that then goes through the headphones. Most of the time, all the converting is done through the device and not the headphones. But what makes the Bathys so cool is that you have an option to do that conversion through the headphones themselves with the USB DAC feature. This means you can be confident in consistent audio quality no matter the device, because the DAC is high-tech, boasting a resolution of 24 bits by 192 kilohertz. Now, I really like the DAC functionality. It really enriched even the lower quality file types, holding up to some of our favorite DACs like the Cobalt Dragonfly. But there's a pretty strong caveat: setup. First and foremost, if you don't have a USB-C input on your device, i.e. iPhone users, you'll need to purchase an additional adapter. And it can't just be any adapter, however, it needs to have enough power for digital information to come through. We used the Apple camera adapter with the USB A to C cord, neither of which are included in the case, which could be an additional $70. Now, iPhone users may not be the only ones who will face difficulty, however. We also tested the DAC on an LG G8 Think, an AT&T Radiant Max, Samsung Galaxy Note 20, Samsung Galaxy S22, Samsung Galaxy A13 5G, an iPad, a PC, and a Mac. On the Galaxy Note 20 and the Galaxy S22, we got a pop-up that said the DAC drew too much power to be used. That said, we were able to use it on every other system we tested it on, including the Galaxy A13, but still, if you spent $800 on headphones, it's a bit concerning to have to worry about them not working. At time of filming, we were unable to get a hold of the power requirements necessary for the DAC feature, but we will edit this description and our article when those are available. If you do have a compatible device, the DAC really does enhance the sound quality exponentially, especially on a laptop or a desktop. The Bathys are so much more than their modes of listening, though. They also feature 8 microphones, so you can answer phone calls without touching your phone at all.
So this is what the microphones on that Bathys sound like in a phone call setting. They're all right. They're pretty good. There are obviously maybe some static, some artifacting, but that could also just as easily be an issue with my phone or with the service. So I'm not going to fault it too much for that. I don't really look for microphone capabilities when I'm looking for headphones, so to me, the fact that they have them at all, that's a pretty nice bonus. I think that's pretty cool. That's kind of it.
Along with all that, you also get the option to connect to Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa. You simply press the button on the side and give your command. Battery life is another key component, and it varies depending on how you're listening. If you're listening through Bluetooth, the battery can last up to 30 hours. Pretty standard for high-quality wireless headphones. If you're listening through the audio jack, it can last up to 35 hours and a beautiful 42 hours if you're using the USB DAC, though that does drain your device battery. These things charge real fast too. If you charge them for just 15 minutes, you can get 5 whole hours of listening time, which is perfect if you're in a hurry and you forgot to charge them the night before. But the real selling point is the noise cancellation. As I said, these are being pushed as the ideal travel companion, with the headline being Focal's first wireless headphones with active noise cancelling. So how does the ANC fare? Pretty great. Yeah, it's pretty dang good. There are 3 modes. There's silent, there's soft, and there's transparent. And you can adjust using the button on the side or by using the app on your phone. Now, I have generally positive but some mixed feelings about the ANC. One issue that's resolved with the app is being able to tell immediately what mode you're in. This is a trend with modern electronics that I've sort of come to dislike, where the minimalist aesthetic actually makes the device harder to use. Again, this is solved with the app. It's just a little bit frustrating that it has to be solved at all. Maybe something like a dial or another glowing LED, something that might make it a bit more obvious on the phones themselves. As for the actual settings themselves, when it's at its highest, it's great. Nothing gets through. It's as if you're floating in space, but it's a different kind of space where you can breathe and there's actually sound and you're not in space, but you're on the bus, but you can't hear the irate couple shouting at each other over who took out the trash last or who really wanted the dog. Oh, but the other 2 settings can supply mixed results. With music on, for instance, the differences between them were all sort of minimal. Maybe that's a problem with me or how loudly I listen to my music, but generally I felt the lines between silent and soft were often blurred. With the music off, things were better, and I could hear around me. And in transparency mode, I could hear pretty clearly, which I could see coming in handy at the office or something when you kind of need to pay attention, but you don't really want to fully be paying attention. On the note of ANC working very well at keeping noise out, however, the same cannot be said for keeping noise in. While we were group testing these, we noticed quite a bit of sound escaping from the headphones once you got to a medium volume, and of course getting particularly bad when it got to higher volumes, most likely due to it being an open back design. Now, if you're at a park, this won't be a problem. But if you're on a plane and you start cranking it, you may get some annoyed looks from those around you. Then again, you may not care because you'll be pretty enraptured in your own little world, which is very nice. There's not a whole lot to the app, but I felt since it's not immediately a part of the packaging, it deserved its own section. It's a pretty simple app, and it fixes my biggest issue with the noise cancellation, which was that it was hard to know what mode you were in. With the tap of your finger, you can transition from silent to soft to transparent and back again. It shows you the battery life, which is pretty useful, as well as what audio format you're using, which has varying degrees of usefulness. The big thing about the app is the EQ adjuster, but even though you can adjust 5 sections in a range from -6 decibels to +6 decibels, I didn't feel like it made much difference. Now, full disclosure, this app may improve as time goes on, as we tested this with the beta, so it fully stands to reason that they can improve this feature, but when we tested it, it wasn't fully there. My favorite part about the app, though, is that you can turn the light off, turn it on, or dim it. Look at it go! Look at it go! Ah, look at it go! Look at it go! Focal is pushing the Bathys to be the ideal traveling companion, and I have generally positive feelings about that, though there are some trouble spots. The Bluetooth is stellar. The noise canceling at its fullest works like a charm. The battery life is real solid, and the headphones are built very well. But then you factor in hiccups, like the DAC only working on some devices with no indication of what device will accept it, the headphones don't fold up like many other modern travel headphones, and the noise leakage could be a real issue if you listen to your music too loudly. And at the price point of $800, it really begs the question, are they ideal for travel? Now, if you're going to the gym or the park and there's space between you and other people, you can rely on the Bluetooth. The space they take up is minimal, and the noise leakage won't really affect anyone else, so it's barely an afterthought. These are great, super high quality headphones for that. But if you're on a plane, or a train, or a bus, something where you're leg to leg next to other people, it may not be as much of a no-brainer. When we were testing out the Bathys, we tested them against several other types of headphones. We tested them against B&W PX7S2s, NAD Viso HP70s, Vocal Listens, Hi-Fi Man Ananda BTs, and Bose Quiet Comfort 35-2s, all of them Bluetooth enabled and most with some form of noise cancelling. There are many more that we didn't test that are cheaper and more expensive than the Bathys, some that fold up, some with longer wireless battery, some where you can turn the ANC to transparent and it's like you're not even wearing headphones anymore. This is Focal's first pair of wireless headphones with active noise cancelling, but other companies have been doing that for a while, so why would the Bathys come out on top? To that I ask, how many of those headphones also have an internal DAC? How many of those headphones have Focal-backed drivers of Focal level quality? How many of those headphones let you turn off the glowing LED on the side whenever you want? The Bathys is promoted as travel headphones, but the real magic is underneath. It's how much more versatile it is than that. I played Yakuza 0, I watched The Wire, I watched The Muppets with these on. And it felt like I was there with my favorite characters, the Japanese Mafia, drug peddlers from Baltimore, and Miss Piggy, a dream come true. The Bathys won't fit everyone's needs. While the sound quality is fantastic from the jack and the Bluetooth, the fact the DAC may struggle or not even work on your phone is concerning, especially for something priced at $800. It wouldn't fix the technology, but hopefully they'll release a system requirements page of sorts along with adapter recommendations if you're on iPhone. If you're confident in your Android's power, however, or you just want it for your laptop or your iPad, and you want something that boasts the quality of the Focal name at a much more cost-effective price, check the Bathys out. If you go to the gym a lot, or the park, or you want to do chores around the house but you don't want to be tethered, you could easily get tons of use out of this. But using this on a plane or a bus in close contact with others, well, you may get some dirty looks if you start blaring it. That's it for this video. What do you think? Will you be getting the brand new Bathys headphones? Why or why not? Let us know down below. If you have any more questions, email us or call our sales staff. As always, I'm Josh, and I'll see you next time.